A few people ask me in the chat, how can we create a mega menu with multiple tabs? So I found this excellent example in the Nike website. So we have a menu here with multiple tabs. So when you hover one of the buttons, it reveals a specific menu, right? So let's see how to build it. So first, let's review what we have here. We have a header, and it has two strips. The first one is the gray one, and there is the white strip, which is contained the buttons and the content for each button. Right, so I already started working on it, and I create a header. You can see here that this is my header, and I create a grid in it. So if I view the grid of the header, you can see it has two columns. So the first column is for the gray strips, the gray strip, and the second one is for our menu, our custom menu. Okay, so I know this is gonna be a bit complex section to build this header, so I create a separated page. I think this is a good practice to create a page just for managing master sections, especially if they are a bit complex. Okay, so I have a special page just to build the menu, because I don't want it to overlap my real website design. And I add another container. I create another container just for the menu and all the content. So this container that contain all the content for the menu itself, I add a grid to it with 7 rows. Okay, so if I go to edit grid, I have here 7 rows. Why 7? Okay, so let's see. We have 6 tabs here, right? But also we need a space for the menu itself. Okay, so you can see that the menu itself is sitting on the first row, and then I have another 6 row for the content of the drop downs. All right, so I already created each container with all its content, each tab, but frankly I took a screenshot of the menu from here because it's taking too much time to build each menu separately. So just for the example, I took a screenshot. So basically this is all images. So I create for each one of the container, just to be organized, create its own section. You can see each tab content is sit on its own section, and the more important is that I placed the buttons inside its own container, so it's very easy to copy paste it inside my header, and then I can easily manage it after let's say you need to add new buttons or new menu. Okay, so they all look the same. Basically the menu is sit on its own container and it's 100% width. The container itself, it doesn't have its own height, so it's take the height from the image, so it's important. And you can see I named each section, so I know each menu related to what tab in the menu. Alright, great. So before we even start to put all this content inside the menu, we need first thing we need to create the hover this line for each tab. Okay, so let's see how I build this menu tab. So basically this is a container with grid in it. You can see I have six columns for each button, and it's each column it's max content. I added two extra columns just so all my buttons will be centered, and this one farce make my grid look complete and not broken. Alright, so each column contain, you can see here, I usually give a meaningful names in the layers panel because it's helped me to remember exactly what I did. So you can see that this is the tabs container, and each column contain a button and the black line. Okay, and I set each black line to be hidden on load, because you can see that the default state is that you don't see this line. Okay, so next thing I did, I mapped all these IDs, okay, the buttons and the line. Okay, so let's see, I created an object. There is an easy way to do it, but I think this is the more understandable way to do it. So I created an object. It holds all the buttons and underline the black lines IDs. Okay, ignore the content box, we will use it later. So actually let's comment this. Okay, so each object, it contains its own button ID and underline ID. So if I select the new releases, you can see that its ID, it's new releases, and the button and the underline is, if I will be able to select it from here, the underline is called new releases line. Okay, so now I mapped all my IDs. So what I need to do, I need to loop for each button and basically reveal the black line on hover, right, like this. So I already created this function, but I will explain what I did. Okay, so this function is called init mega menu. So let's take it from here and put it here, and alright, so for now let's remove this one, don't need it yet. Okay, so you can see that in the init mega menu, I call it already, I loop on this object of elements and of IDs and decide what to do. So menu items dot buttons, I mean this specific, when we are looping in this position, in the I position, on mouse in, which means the button, you can see it holds all the buttons ID. On mouse in, I want to show the underline, right? So I can copy this one and say on mouse in, I need the underline. So now I hold the underline elements, and I can say show, right? So when I'm mouse in on the button, show it, and when I mouse out of the, this is the content box, but it's, let's say, button, hide this line. Okay, so if I will preview the site, you will see that when I'm hovering this button, we reveal the line. When I'm going to another one, it hides the the last one, and reveal the relevant one. Okay, so now our menu is working, but now we need to reveal some content, the relevant content for each tab. Okay, so let's go back to our design. So we said that we have a container is inside our header. Let's see the layers panel. We have a container that sits in the second row inside the header, and it's called menu warper, and it has a grid with 7 columns. The first was with 7 rows. The first row hold the menu itself, and all the other rows should hold the content for each tab. Okay, so I already recreated, so I can copy the container that hold all the content. Let's copy it, and I will paste it inside the second row, right? So let's paste it, and I will make sure it's stretched. I need to be stretched, and I need to make sure that it sits on its own row, so not 2 to 5 but 2 to 3. Great. So now I need to do it for everything, and this part is very important because you need to be precise. So I will stretch it and make sure it sits on its own row. Nice. Now we are in the Women's tab. Copy. Paste, stretched, and 4 to 5. And right now my header height is, you can see, is auto, so it's grow with the content. Okay, so we were in the woman, and now this is the kids. So let's paste it and stretch it. Yes, and make sure it sits on its own row. So after kids we have sales and collection. So let's copy the container, and you can see that I have the last one, the last row. So it needs to sit on its, well, what I just did. Stretched. What happened? It is just stretched, but okay, let's try it again. Paste and stretched. All right. 7, and the last one is the collections container. Copy, and where is it? Here. Paste. Again, stretched, and it's already sit on its own row. So let's preview what we have right now. So I published the site, and our menu look like this. Okay, so everything here is opened. You see, this is the all containers with the content for each tab. So the tabs is work, but now we need the default state that we don't need to see any of this content, right? Like here, you don't see any content. So let's do it. So we need to make each one of them collapsed on load, because we don't need to see it, but we need to make sure to select the container itself. Okay, so open the master and collapsed. Basically I can do it from here. Select the container very quickly. collapsed, collapsed and collapsed. Right, so right now if I review my site, the live site, now I don't see anything. Okay, and this is the way I want it to be, right? So all we need to do is now when I'm hovering, we need to show the relevant menu, right? So I already start working on this one also, but let's see what happened there. Okay, so I created another function. Just to handle all these cases. Okay, so I don't need this hide and show of the underline because I did it in this function. So let's remove it and reveal again our function. Okay, so what happened here? So we loop in for each item already, for each object of IDs, and we said when mouse in, you can see here it said the buttons, but I will explain why I need to do it on the content box. So basically when we are hovering the menu, one of the tab, so it reveal content, right? So I need to be able to select one of the buttons. But if I said on mouse out, you need to close this one, so I will not be able to hover it because it will close immediately. So I'm looping through each of the buttons and said for each one of you play this function. Okay, so what this function does, so let's get step by step. So when I'm hovering, I'm passing this object, okay, of IDs. So if I'm hovering the new releases button, I pass this object with all these IDs, okay, to this function. So the open reveal function get the hover item IDs, and it compares to and I'm creating another loop and I'm checking if this object in in this position is equal to the object I just received by hovering, right? So if it's equal, I show the underline. This is what we did before, and I am expanding the content box. Okay, so let's see if it's work. So let's publish the site, and oh, but I forgot to release all the IDs. I called these IDs before I implement into the container itself. So I need to make sure that each container box has the right ID, which is not the case right now. So I will go to the new releases tab, the first one, and I will change the ID to new releases box. So why it won't let me do it? Because I already gave it this name here. So I need to change this one. All these IDs I need to add something to make it different. Okay, so I will do it very quickly. And now the kids sell alright. So now all I need to do, I need to give the right name to each container. Okay, so this is a new releases container, and again I can select it from here very quickly. So this one is the man box, and this one should be woman box, And if I change this one to IDs, I can see the IDs right here. So kids box and cell box. The last one is collection box. So let's see if it works. So they are all collapsed on load. So I should see nothing like this. And when I'm hovering, I see the right content. You can see that we have a gap here. Let's see what this happened. And also I want to show you what happened when I'm hovering out of this button. It disappears, so I can't click on any element, any buttons inside the menu. So this is why we need to change the mouse out our object from the button to the content box. So only when I'm hovering out of the content box, so hide the relevant container. Alright, so we fix this one, right? And we need to make sure, let's see that it's fixed. So I'm hovering on new releases and I can click on any element here, but when I'm hovering out, it's disappeared. Great. So I forgot to do something. You remember that each of this content is sit on its own row, right? This is the menu warper. So if I go and adjust the grid, you can see that every item has minimum height of 100 pixels. So this is why when we hovering different element, you get different margin, because basically here you have a minimum height of 100 pixels for each one of the content. Okay, so I need to make sure, so each row is only max content. So when the content is collapsed, this row height will be basically nothing, because there is no content in it. So after I finished to make sure that everything is max content, you will see that it works perfectly. So, and you also see that this this section is stick to the menu, because there is nothing that hold him to stick up, because the header now is smaller when all the content is collapsed. So you can see that actually the menu is pushing the page content, right? But it works great, right? And all we need to do, we need to make this header fixed, and then it will come, it will not affect the layout, it will overlap the content. So let's do it. So let's select the header and make it fixed, and you can see it automatically gets a height, because in EditorX, when you set a header to be fixed height, it has to be with fixed height in pixels. So what pixels should I give? Right now it's too much, it's 2000 and it's almost 3000 pixels. So I need to know what is the height of this section, of this header, when there is no open tabs. Okay, so basically I know that the top strip is 46 pixels and the menu tabs is 60 pixels. I have a margin here, I don't know why. So together is 106, right? So I know my header should be 106 pixels. Alright, so let's publish the site. And now it should look great. Okay, so when I scroll, the menu is come with me, and when I'm hovering, I see the right content, right? So last thing, let's add a bit of animation, like it revealed the content here. So we will use a timeline for it. I already created, but basically I said Wix animation timeline. I need to import the Wix animation API, and then I said add, and I select the menu item in the I position, the content box, and I said children of position 0. Okay, why? Because each container, you can see that this is the new releases container. His children on position 0 is the image. Okay, but you won't use image, you will use a container with real buttons. So this is, instead of the image, you will have here the container. So this is exactly the same. So I select the children in position 0 and said your first animation step is that your Y position will be -20 pixels and your opacity will be 0. Okay, so this happen like you don't see it happening. Okay, but the second animation is the same content box. Basically, this is the content box. Okay, this is the whole area of the buttons. The content box children in position 0, the Y position is 0, which means go back to your default position and change the opacity to 1, and it will take you 200 milliseconds. All right, and of course play. So let's publish the site and see how it's happening. So you can see that I have a bit of animation here, just like Nike has in their site. So if I will go now to the home page, and you can see I pretty much copied the Nike site, but I have a fixed header which Nike doesn't have, but you know, it doesn't matter. It just I mean, I can easily go to my header and say, okay, don't be fixed, be none, and remove the hide to auto. And because everything is fixed, so because everything will be collapsed, so it will be 106 pixels. Okay, so let's refresh our site, and now you can see that the menu is not coming with me, just like Nike. And wait, did I? Okay, the Nike menu is coming back when I'm scrolling up, so we can do basically same behavior. So let's make it fixed again, and we can add a scroll. Wait, okay, now it's fixed. We can add transition. So it's a transition said when you scroll up, when you scroll down, it's disappear. When you scroll up, it's reveal again. So let's check it. So when I scroll down, it's gone. When I scroll a bit up, it's coming back, right? But I want to do something cooler. I want to hide only this strip, the small one, the 46 pixels. So instead of 100 pixels, I will set 46 pixels. Scroll up, and now you will see that I like this behavior more. So when I scroll down, it only hide the top strip, right? And my menu is working perfectly, and I be able to click on everything, and yeah, this is beautiful. So what's next? I will create a an inner page. Maybe you need to click on join us. I will change this text to code, and when you click it you go to an inner page, and I will show you there all the code and the layers panel, and you can play with it and copy it if you want. So I will encourage you to go to EditorX Academy. It's called EditorX Community. I will add a link to it in the description, and please come enjoy the community there. It helps a lot of people that we share our experience and problems, bugs, and everything that we care about. So I hope you will enjoy with this video and keep learning EditorX.